calibrating?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty easy to gauge. For me, I don't know. I've opened a few sets now, so maybe it just comes easier for me now just seeing it. But if you get out there and you open sets, you're gonna notice when you're kenoing too aggressively. And really, guys, it is not as big of a problem as you may think. Okay, I see 10 guys who aren't escalating keno enough versus maybe every one guy that escalates too much. Probably less. It's probably more like 50 to 1. Okay, guys, if you're pushing that limit and you're making girls feel uncomfortable with your touch, all you have to do is tone it down a little bit. That's it. That's an easy problem to solve. Easy one.
But I think the main point is you gotta
Calibrating.
You gotta pay attention to what you're doing. I mean, some people you just see them and you're like, come on, man, she's about to get a bounce on you and punch in the face or something.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, there's a certain degree that's fake it till you make it. All right, but then there's that small point where you're forcing yourself to touch her and she's visibly uncomfortable. And if you can't see that, I mean, it's sort of like survival of the fittest. You gotta be looking for that. It's really obvious to me. I hope that it's gonna be
attention.
Obvious. Yeah.
You gotta pay attention.
Can you give them some signs of positive IOIs and negative IOIs this way? I mean, body language wise this way, below and all, like, you know.
IOIs versus IODs?
Yeah. Like examples of if you're touching and she's moving back, that's an IOD. So don't escalate, cut it back. If she's moving forward, she's playing with the hair and all this stuff. So how do you escalate? How do you know she's responding well, even though you're standing and talking to her? Small things she's doing, like fidgeting with her hands or anything like that.
Okay, those are IOIs. Okay, if a girl's like real fidgety with her hands, some people are just fidgety, and that's them. They're probably just nervous. But then other girls, they'll fidget, and they're uncomfortable. That could be uncomfortable because of sexual attraction, or it could be uncomfortable because she's really uncomfortable with your touching. And if that's the case, you guys got to be looking for those signs. All right, those are big indicators of disinterest when she's showing that she's uncomfortable. An example might be if you touch her hand and she like pulls away a little bit, or if she like shakes, or if you move your hand or something like up somewhere and she goes like this, she's fearful you're gonna hit her. Like, that's bad. That's happened to me sometimes, usually only when I drink a lot and I get sort of like reckless, okay? That happens then, and then I immediately apologize. I say, like, I'm really sorry, I did not mean to scare you like that. And I make sort of a big deal about it because, I want to make sure she knows I would never, ever, ever do something to, like, startle her like that on purpose, And that was something I had to work with. Not a big deal, but, I had to fix that about myself. And that's an IOD, okay? And another IOD is, when she pulls away, or something like that. If you put your hand on her shoulder, and she pulls like that, it's pretty obvious. Okay, it's pretty obvious when she doesn't want to be touched, and you're still touching her.
Another one, really blatant one is if you're talking to the girl, you're touching her. If she starts looking, if she's scanning the club, she's looking for one of her friends. She just pretty much just saying, "Come rescue me." I mean, I see a lot of guys who just don't see that one. It's just like I see, I'm like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, that's a huge IOD. I remember that now.
One, dude.
I haven't gotten that one in a long time. But yeah, that's a bad one. That's because you're showing too much body language at that point. Too much positive body language. You're facing her full on. You're being needy. Those are all things that cause girls to show IODs like that, where they're just looking. Not paying attention to you. I'm still facing you, but I'm not paying attention to you. That's what they're saying, and that's a bad one. Yes.
Eric, there's another thing that happened to us a lot when I was out with Dolce and Kyle and Chili and a bunch of the guys. It's almost like an IOD, I think I want to say, but it happened to us a lot. I noticed it happens a lot with some of the new guys coming out too. Is internal and external interrupts. It's when you're talking to the group of girls at first. Then all of a sudden one of their friends from the outside comes in, pulls the rest of them away. Like, that happens to us all the time.
Mm-hmm. You know how to fix that?
Or it's, I would say what you do is, if it's an external one, she comes in, you cut your thread immediately. Because why are you going to, go back to your story? Like you said, don't repeat yourself.
What do you expound more on cutting your thread? Because I think you're onto something you may not realize it though.
So, say I'm talking to a girl and her friend, there's a 2-set, when a third friend, she comes in from the outside and starts dancing, tries to get their attention, tries to pull them away. And I was talking to the girl about something. All of a sudden, when she comes in, I'm going to cut my thread immediately, and I'm not going to go back to it unless she asks me to.
Right.
Now, when she comes in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, introduce me to your friend. It's the polite thing to do.
Exactly.
As she introduces me to her friend, I meet the friend, and then I'll nag her lightly. I'll just be like, geez, you can dress her up, but you can't take her anywhere. Some of the basic nags you've learned, from mystery or whatnot.
What I found most effective with that, this is what I was sort of fishing with you, is when I'm engaging a set and someone comes in, you can't always count on. I mean, you can count on sometimes things being unexpected. So people coming in that you didn't count on, you weren't aware of, another friend coming in and saying, who the hell's this guy? I don't know him, and trying to pull their friends away from you. Okay, that happens, and this is the best way to prepare for that. When they come in, guy or girl, and you realize they're a friend of this group already, you can be like, hey, what's up? I'm Eric. Engage them immediately, okay? Now, all their friends that you've been talking to, they already like you. Hopefully, at this point you've been bantering, blah, 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 showing good body language, and they like you. They've accepted you. So it's going to be very easy for this next person to accept you. All you have to do is be fun and social and be like, hey, I'm Eric. Bring them into the set. Now, they're in your set. You're not in their set. Do you get it? Okay, so that's a very good way to destroy that possibility of them pulling their friends away.
What about the internal ones? When all of a sudden the girls are like, oh, let's go dance or something. I believe that's a form of an IOD, kind of just because maybe they got bored and they decide to go away. But I'll never I won't chase them. I won't do that. That happened to me in Dolce, matter of fact, at the casino, where we had a set. It was going really good between both of us. We're getting massive IOIs. And all of a sudden the girls are like, oh yeah, let's go dance. And it's almost like they wanted me in Dolce to chase them, and we're like, no, it's not. No.
You weren't escalating. Guarantee it.
Think so?
Yep. That if you were escalating, they're always, every step they're getting something new. They're like a cat chasing a string. They're gonna have no ability to say no. If you're always escalating. Okay, obviously there's exceptions to that rule, but when I hear a story like that, it sounds like it wasn't escalating. Escalation will keep that interaction fun for everyone and exciting.
Escalating both of them?
Once they get bored, absolutely. Now, if you're gaming one girl specifically, you don't want to be escalating in all those same senses with the friend.
Yeah.
Okay, you can touch the friend, you can touch her shoulder, but keep it on that first stage of touching. Okay, just really brief, touch the shoulder, blah blah blah. Put your arms around, that's okay. But don't escalate with the friend also. You can keep the friend engaged. I like to engage the friend at least as much as the girl that I'm gaming. Okay, this keeps her completely involved, and it even gives her that hope, like maybe he's gonna choose me. Okay, and I it's cruel, but guess what? It's a cruel world out there. All right, and she's gonna be really happy when she knows how much her friend likes me. So it's a good thing. I would say escalate. Now, I want to move on to the next thing, okay? Guys, this is sort of a pretty beefy topic here. Inner game, any of you have heard of that? Anybody? Yeah?
Just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Little curious about it, maybe? Yeah? No? I've actually remember hearing one guy somewhere on some forum saying, inner game is a bunch of garbage and doesn't exist.
Who the fuck said that?
I don't know, but I don't know how successful he is right now. But anyway, inner game, for those who may not know, is your core confidence. It's, if outer game is the things you say and your voice tonality and your body language, inner game is what's inside you, what you feel about that. It's the engine that drives your outer game. Ultimately is what it is. Okay? You can force yourself to change your outer game, and that's fake it till you make it. Okay? And I'm going to talk about that in a second, okay? But there's inner game and there's outer game. Outer game is your outer representation of your inner game. Inner game is what you feel about yourself. It's what you truly believe. Okay? Inner game is comprised of mostly your beliefs. Okay? Now I want to talk about beliefs.